Marshelle.
Hi, Bridget. This episode,
We're going to talk about
what are the things that are going on in our lives?
it's kind of like maybe this might be like,
Yeah, sorta, kinda.
life lesson.
hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I am really good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Not too shabby. A little itchy faced, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
How
I'm
do you
Marshelle.
really feel?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I am that person. If you're like, how you doing? Well,
Well, my
I'll,
face
like, list
itches.
it. Yeah, my face itches. I'm Marshelle.
I'm Bridget.
This is Yeah, Sorta, Kinda.
Welcome back.
Welcome back indeed.
Yes. Life lessons and unknowable things.
Lots of unknowable things.
And I
Lots
feel
of life
like
lessons.
tonight is going to be a little of both. It really is. It's going to be a little bit talk about chakras, but specifically the third chakra, the solar plexus, and how that impacts us, whether it's in alignment or that's not the right word. What's the word I'm looking for?
Open.
Open or closed. Like there's
Yeah, open
different.
or closed.
We'll go over all that.
Yeah.
Another word we've been throwing out a lot when Marshelle and I were discussing ideas is like sovereignty and autonomy, and those also tie in to tonight's topics. So
Yes, they
just to
do.
give you a little sense, sense.
And it might be the beginning of it is I think
Yeah.
of a series on the chakra, and we'll just kind of throw these in intermittently. The
Yeah.
different chakras, the 7 chakras. That
Whatever order we want, because we're rebels.
exactly, exactly.
We're starting with 3.
We're gonna
deal
start
with
number
it.
3. Exactly. What are you gonna do? Not listen.
How we
But that's
roll.
okay. Exactly.
Or you'll just wait and then listen to them in order, because you can do that.
You can do that too. You can do what you want.
We're not
It's
going to
what you have
judge you.
control over. Let's see. So, what was the impetus that started this? Looking at the way the world is right now. I mean, we can all. You're laughing. What?
No, ignore me. My brain was like, once upon a time, and I like shut that down, and I was trying to shut down the laughing, and then you caught me.
I know.
was like, damn it, because you were having this like really serious moment. I mean, okay. All right.
Okay. So,
Talk to me about life.
once upon a time, there was, the world was normal, and then 2020 came upon us, and it's a shit show, and we have no control over what is happening in our lives at all, and so to some degree, but yet we do. So how is that can make you feel powerless in those situations? And we thought we would go into that a little bit, and like, what can we do? Because who doesn't identify with that? We're all experiencing that, and it can be in different situations. Like you can be, like Bridget and I feel very powerful together. We're very our relationship's very symbiotic. We're both very gracious towards each other and loving towards each other, and we don't want to take each other's power away. Like you've been around people that like you can tell they want to win. That's the feeling. Like they always have to one up you, or they have to.
Trump. I'm sorry. Sorry.
I'm so not
Don't
gonna
stop
go there.
listening. Don't stop listening.
So much to say. Okay, or you go into a work situation and you feel shut down, because you can't really express your own power there, or even your own opinions, or you're not valued there. Or in a relationship, let's say, and somebody likes to just suck the air out of the room, or to be dominating, and like they have to win, like I said. So in those situations, we're kind of giving our power away, and we don't even realize that we're doing it, right?
Yeah, to add to that, other things that show up are anxiety, nerves, maybe feeling drained is another one. And so, so the third chakra, physically, where it's at in the body, it's called the solar plexus, actually, as on a more of an anatomical term, or the celiac plexus. It's a complex system of radiating nerves and ganglia found in the pit of the stomach in front of the aorta, and it's part of the sympathetic nervous system. So this is also like, it's a physical thing is happening. And by the way, that was from healthline.com that I taken that from. But yeah, there's like these radiating nerve fibers there. And you can feel when you're having anxiety or you're feeling, like kind of like that knot in your stomach, or like it feels, I don't know, just like an icky kind of heaviness. But you can also feel excitement and like a positive nerves, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait kind of thing, all in that same area of the body.
The butterflies, like when you're going to meet
Butterflies in
someone
your stomach, all of that. Yeah.
I think it's a partnership between see, he agrees. It's a partnership between your intellectual mind and the intuitive mind, like the physical body, and then also like that spiritual side of ourselves, or that energetic. You can, if spiritual's hard for you, the energetic side of ourselves, because scientifically we are energetic beings. We are emitting, energetic waves.
Yeah, like if you look at an atom and you go smaller and you go smaller and you go smaller, eventually what you have left is energy. Mm-hmm. That's one of the ways to highlight the scientific nature of it. Oh, Kitty, you can't come up here.
So yeah, like she was saying, if it's and what you can do is you can touch you can do, like, I'm wearing yellow because that represents the power chakra, and honestly that's something I've been working on. So I'm like, I'll wear it. What does it hurt? Like your solar plexus, like right here, maybe we'll put up a chart or something so they can see.
Well, it's like, it's at your diaphragm. It's like your upper belly.
Yeah, like
kind of like below your it's like where your ribs are kind of coming together, but a little lower.
Below the breastbone and above the belly button, shall we say. But you can touch that and it will feel tender. If it feels tender, then maybe it's kind of closed off or someone's stealing your power. And that's what she was saying. There's physical signs that it's not working properly or it's shut down. With the stomach pains, you can have anxiety, lower back pain. You'll feel stuck. Yes?
Just a little side note, stealing your power is actually also giving your power away, and I think we'll get into clarifying that.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit more.
But you'll feel stuck or blocked, or you're not maybe moving forward, you're on what you feel you should do, because when that center is open, it is an energy that helps you to take inspired action, to move on these ideas that we have. What else we got here?
Well, so the third chakra rules the personality, it rules the ego, the identity, sense of personal freedom, choice, and authenticity. So it's all really good things to have and to work on if you're feeling like you're lacking in those areas. To work on this area so that you can help yourself take ownership of those parts of you that are your birthright, really. And they're meant for you to have. The mantra associated is I can.
Here's a mantra that Carol Tuttle, I love Carol Tuttle. She has this amazing, what I love about her is that she is very practical in her towards the whole energy work idea. And so it doesn't like shut you off. Now, we've talked about this before, how there's some new agey practices that are just they're too woo-woo. They turn us off. We're both very skeptical about this sort of thing, but she makes sense to me. It doesn't turn you off. It kind of brings you in. And hopefully that's what we'll do for some of you who maybe aren't aware of this. But she has her power chakra affirmation is, I am using my personal power to bless my life and the life of others. Because it is a powerful radiating, you can feel it, all the chakras from the front and the back. And now, I talked about this in season 1. I'd been really sick for a while. Do you remember me talking about this? And I gave up. I'd gone to the doctor. I'd done all this stuff. I even tried acupuncture. I was just kind of like, I can't figure out why I feel so bad. And I finally went to this vitamin shop that also had some practitioners there, I guess, but I didn't know that. And I was asking him, he's like, what are you looking for? And I was kind of telling this guy what I was looking for. And he's like, well, what is it? What's wrong? And then he's like, well, your chakras are blocked. And in my head, I'm naturally like, well, your chakras are blocked. That's rude. Tell me my chakras are blocked. But he was right. When I really got into this idea of what he was saying and started just kind of and putting it out there and looking for answers, like how to help myself open these damn things up. Because I would like to if that's really what's slowing my life down or making me ill, it's what we talk about. Emotions and repressed events can be trapped in the body. Energy, all of that can be trapped in the body, so you have to just release it. And everything in our body is there to help you if you allow it to do that and help it along itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. Your chakras are blocked. That's,
Yeah. So what was the first thing you did? What advice did you take that helped you? Do you remember?
He told me, and then I found later through other reading, that it's your intention. If you just tell it to open, it'll open. So if you have this intention of, I'm now going to shift this energy by opening my power center. Like that, in particular, that's the third chakra. Or by opening my power chakra, that will open it up. But there's more. Like you can do self-Reiki, like where there's a thing where you're unwinding old energy. Put your hand like about 2 to 3 inches away from that. And you say, and it's very much like the tapping that we were talking about, where you say, you acknowledge the negative beliefs you've had, but you can do that with the power chakra. I'm no longer giving my power away.
Do you remember having any sort of emotional release when you were doing this, or any of the times that you have done? Do you remember emotional release?
I would notice, or if I touched it, because they would say, touch this, and it would be so tender. And I didn't realize that. And I would do that, and you would feel, and they would say to pull that energy out once you kind of acknowledged some of these beliefs of, I no longer am giving my power away. I'm no longer letting other people steal my power, that sort of a thing. And then you go into the positive and you're going around. I did notice, like, wow, I feel open. Even just saying, I'm shifting this energy by opening my power chakra, I just did it again. You feel open in some weird way. Like this electrical, for me, it feels kind of an electrical pulse inside. I can't really explain it.
By the way, if you guys haven't already listened to our episode on shadow work and you're enjoying this kind of topic, I think you would appreciate that, because it's still all about kind of like discovering stuff that's suppressed and releasing it and just like working on growth and all that good stuff. And in that episode, we actually refer to working on chakras and tapping and some other things. So I feel like it's a good companion piece to this one. Because it's all about, the theme right now really seems to be self-work and growth. And because I feel like that's what I'm taking quarantine to be for myself.
Me too.
Because that's one of the only things I can control, you know?
That's the point. So what can we, so how do you help yourself to not feel lost in these moments, in this time frame where we really don't have any control over what's happening with the virus, with jobs opening up, with anything, do you know? So I think that it is really helpful, and it's a mental shift of instead of looking at it as a struggle, look at it as a challenge, because I don't believe that we are meant to struggle. I believe that I've started to kind of shift my perspective on this and change my language about that. That challenges feed us, struggles deplete us. Carol Tuttle says this. And if you can see them as opportunities to rise, to meet that level, and to go past it, you'll feel so empowered. Or an example she gave was she decided to do a marathon with her husband. And they trained for like 6 to 8 months. But she said throughout that training, she let go because she was proving to herself that she could do it. Like it was so empowering. Even if just like, I'm going to do this Tracy Anderson workout. I'm going to tell you guys I'm going to start doing that. And I want you to hold me accountable for that for 90 days. I've never, ever, ever finished something like that. And I think that would be a very empowering sort of thing to do. Like my husband's doing the Tony Horton thing. And I've noticed and you find like all these things bubbling up while you're doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a really key thing you brought up was the shifting in how you phrase things and your thinking. I think that is part of reclaiming power, because I think when we feel disempowered, when we give away our power, we feel like it's being taken from us. It's very difficult to get out of that mindset, and it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like cyclical, like we kind of get in this pattern. And I feel like one of the first things you can grasp onto that says, I have control over this, is the power of your focus, your own thinking, the way you speak about your experience. And it does take attention, because you have to catch yourself. And it's like you have to catch yourself a lot before you can even really be like, oh, and the next step is a shift in my way of speaking about that. What was the example you gave? It was that Carol Tuttle had said. You gave it a specific example.
Oh, you meet the challenges, struggles deplete you, challenges feed us.
Yeah, challenge versus
Challenge
a
versus
struggle. Is a great example. It's like she said, it's a, are you feeling defeated or are you inspired to do something? And I think the exciting part about working on this chakra is it's like you are reclaiming something that is yours, that belongs to you, and it's an empowering feeling. It's like who doesn't want to be, I know this word's kind of funny this day and age, but who doesn't want to be more authentic? And what does that even mean? What does it mean to be authentic? What does it mean to be sovereign? What does it mean to be autonomous? Like, what are these words, and why is that important?
Yeah, why is that relevant?
And it's kind of everything, because it's we come into this world as individuals. We might be part of a family unit or whatever, but like we have an individual aspect of us, and then I feel like we kind of, depending on our dynamics, like maybe we get really absorbed into the family, or maybe really absorbed into a relationship, and we could very easily lose sense of ourselves, or maybe feel like we never really get a chance to discover it. And I was just going to add that, and you may never be given permission from anybody else. You may have to grab the bulls by the horn and make the permission for yourself. Because I feel like that's what I had to do. Maybe you did, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's because you become complacent, or you think my needs aren't important. You know, that what I want really isn't relevant, that this is just silly. I don't need that. That's not really, it's kind of that I'll take the burnt toast attitude, you know. You have the good piece, I'll take the burnt one, you know. But it's also or maybe we were taught, it depends, on people pleasing, you know, or you don't speak up because you think you want to, but that's to create a sense of peace, but it's, or the image of peace, but it's not peaceful. It's really, and then you're also, what are you doing to yourself? Because you know, it throws your energy off, your chakra off, because you didn't speak up for yourself. And we're not saying, you know, get in somebody's face and blah, 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 blah. But it means to not allow someone, like someone can make these sarcastic remarks, but really they're very derisive towards you. You know, but it's a joke.
I think what you're bringing up is really important about this. It's not about getting in someone's face. It's like when you're empowered, there's a sense of security that they could almost do or say anything, and you have almost like this stoic calm, because it's like I don't know, like I'm not caught up in that. That's not I'm not intertwined there anymore, because I'm sovereign, I'm autonomous, I am like not playing that game.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
You know who you are. And you're comfortable in that. And
it's giving your power away when you allow them to affect so strongly how you feel. And it took me a while to really make sense of that. But it really is, I just see it as so true. It's like, if my emotions are just going on this roller coaster because of this person, like I need to, I mean, granted, this person might really be toxic and you need to cut them from your life, but like there's also room for you to sit in your own sense of peace and calm. And I think it almost starts with, okay, so before you're interacting with people, how do you create that sense of peace and calm regardless of who's around you? But also, are you taking the time privately to create that space, to create that peace? You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to kind of know what that feels like. And that's kind of a very private thing for a lot of people. It's like, to become sovereign, you have to pull back from the world a little bit and maybe like thin out your friends list a bit and really be choosy with where you spend your energy.
Because we're moving away from more of a controlling energy. Do you know that's what they're saying? They, quote unquote, people are saying that the power chakra has now, like, the world is moving into this different, instead of a this someone who has all the power, and then we're all just like the little subservient people who have no power, that it's moving more into a partnership sort of energy. And what's important about that is the type of partnership. It's peaceful, collaborative partnerships, to where you're not taking power from the other to make yourself feel better, but you want to buoy each other up. You want to, you don't need to do that. You respect each other. You can, you want them to shine. Do you know that?
It's symbiotic.
Yeah.
It's a give and take. It's like, yeah. That's an interesting point about where things are headed.
That's what they say.
Well, I mean, but I like the sound of that. Like, doesn't that sound nice? Because right now things feel so divided and so us and them. And it's lovely to think that we're headed towards a place where there can be like calm discourse and supportive action and all those lovely things. Like, I believe that that's all completely possible.
It does seem to be that the giants are falling a little bit. Do you know, the Harvey Weinsteins of the world and all that, they're all falling away. Or the NXIVM, the cult. There's a lot of people that are kind of being called out on. Now, is it all completely done? No. But there is a shift. You do seem to see the shift in what's occurring. What was I going to say about that? Something about, and it's a habit. This sometimes allowing someone to take your energy or giving your energy away, and it is circumstantial. Like, I can feel great with Bridget, and I can go to an audition and just feel totally like, you don't feel like you measure up. You don't feel like you were good enough. You can self-sabotage yourself a little bit with that. It's self-esteem. So that's just an example. But you can do all of these things, like you can lay out in the sun and for 10 minutes and imagine that light going into the third chakra. You can wear yellow. You can listen to certain music. You can, frequencies, all these types of things. And you're going to feel really good and open. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's going to happen again, because it's a habit. So don't beat yourself up for that, because you are going to fall back into that pattern once in a while. But you'll get to where you can incrementally, you can feel it happening. So you stop it, you shut it down. And then it doesn't really happen because it's kind of open, because you want them all to be communicating with each other. And when they are open, when this guy said to me, your chakras are closed, like, no, and I really started to dive into that, he was right. And I could feel, and it wasn't my imagination, you could truly feel something changing. And I did end up getting rid of a relationship that wasn't good for me. I did drop some toxic friends, because you start to draw to you people and situations that are timely and that are like-minded and the same sort of vibration, if that makes sense.
I was picturing the mechanics of a car. Not that I don't mean like picture like very detailed, because I'm not a mechanic, but just this idea that these chakras are to work together, and that if one part of the vehicle, like you have a flat tire,
it's true. Yeah.
Doesn't mean the engine has stopped working, but the car is not functioning properly, and you need to address that flat tire, otherwise your alignment might get off, and all sorts of things could happen from there. Or you have a belt snap, and suddenly your car is smoking and it's not running anymore. Now, granted, it may still, now the tires are great, but you need a new belt. Things like that, I think those visuals might help a little bit, because I think it's easy when we think of the physical components of our body, but maybe a little weirder when we start talking about energy centers. But there are a lot of physical aspects that these chakras tie into that can help you root your understanding of the chakra system into the physical form, if that's easier for your brain to bear. And I would recommend doing that if you're kind of more of like a pragmatic thinker, but you're still open to what we're presenting tonight, because I feel like it's worth looking into, even if you don't think of yourself as feeling disempowered, but you just want to feel more empowered. Like, it's not always like I'm coming from this place of I'm broken and I want to fix it. It might be like I want to feel even more sense of self. Like, it could just be you want to emphasize what you already have.
And more clarity, maybe in some ways, or like to know which way you should go. Should I do this endeavor that I want to do? Should I write this book that I've always wanted to write? My sister-in-law was realizing that she always wanted to write, and she was denying that part of herself. And she started this blog that's really beautiful. Like, it's really, really good. It's very empowering. And it's kind of what we're trying to do, in the sense of like, let's talk about life lessons and unknowable things. Like, this is what we know to be true. And we know there's people out there that are like us, that and or at least be open to seeing, because we can't convince you. Just like you can't control how someone is, but you can work on yourself, to rise to that certain level that you want to be, and then all the people around you, hopefully, will match that frequency, shall we say, and then, or they won't.
Yeah, I think there's two things that come to my mind when you say the people around you match your frequency. One might be you're drawing new people to you. Yeah. That are at that frequency. New friends, new mentors, different job, maybe a new boss, that kind of stuff. Or because you think music, you think harmony, what harmonizes together. Or you could have people that are already in your life rise up along with you, and isn't that the sweet stuff? That's really cool when that happens. But unfortunately, we can't make people do that, and I feel like there's another we'll get into that in another episode one of these days, if we haven't already, like talking about how people have a choice whether or not they step into who they're meant to be.
Yeah, we talk about that actually a lot. It's choice, you guys. And then there was something I wanted to say about taking that time, because it is sacred. That your inner world is a sacred space, and you have to be careful of who you share that with. That goes along with the power chakra. Like, if you have this idea, don't share it necessarily with everyone, because of the type of feedback. When you're in that doubtful place, that energy will seep back in and stop you from doing, perhaps, because you're still learning to keep yourself in an open place. I mean, that affects all of us. Like, I mean, I've certainly been subject to that. If I haven't, maybe I talked about something too soon, and it wasn't, and it was upsetting to hear what they had to say. Because not everyone's going to understand where you're going. But if it's really on your heart, you got to do it. You got to try, because at the end of the day, at the end of life, then there's all these what ifs. And I know I don't want that. I want to feel like I really. And this, what?
There's the what ifs, and there's just the fact that this creative thing wants to live, and it's asking you to bring it into the world. Yeah. And I feel like if we don't say, yes, I'm going to bring that into the world, it's going to move along. Okay, next. Like, will you do it for me? Will you create me then?
Yeah, and these feelings, this inner space, shall we say, it can't be rationalized. This intuition, these feelings, it's just something you have to sort of surrender to if you're open to that, or at least try it yourself and then see how you feel. Like, do you feel a sense of, because I know I did that self-Reiki technique, unwinding and then moving it again the other direction. I felt so much better. I really did. Like, my back stopped hurting, and that's not my imagination. Like, literally, my lower back was killing me, and it was instantly stopped. It instantly stopped. So,
there you
fix
go.
Your flat tire.
Fix your flat tire.
Fix your flat tire. You sound like you were describing my car for me, actually. I almost tried.
Well, I was seeing something. Well, guys, I think that might be it for tonight. Did you have any parting words, or do you think you covered it?
What we said, it's a partnership between the intellectual mind and the intuitive mind, and it's worth it to give it a shot and to see if it makes you feel better. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I bet you it does.
And I also feel like we're kind of saying, hey, we're planting seeds here about this idea of the chakra. And there is so much information online about it, and so many meditations, and so many, there's just a lot of videos, a lot of articles. So I almost feel like we're saying, hey, if you want to know more, go seek it out. It's there ready and waiting for you, because we certainly, I feel like we've barely tapped the surface.
You guys,
of what
we can make
is.
an entire show about, I mean, not a show, but I mean, we could have a whole podcast about just chakra work. You know what I mean?
I'm sure it exists.
I'm sure it does exist.
Yeah.
And that's what we're saying. We're just giving this idea to you of like, it is really relevant. Maybe you want to try it, especially in this time, in this element, what's going on in the world. It could be very beneficial.
It's a good place to start.
It is a good place to start. And it's like Bridget said, and not everybody's going to jibe with Carol Tuttle like I do. Some people might there's so much out there. There's so many good resources. Or you just sit in nature and smell a lemon and, I don't know, imagine light being drawn towards that center, and just ground yourself and tell yourself that you want to open it and see how that feels. See if there is a shift. See if you feel more empowered. See if things make more sense.
And don't be afraid if emotion comes up. That's a release. You can allow that to release. It's okay. And it doesn't mean that it's going to happen every time. Just think of it as like this energy is bundled up and it's been holding on to this thing, and you're now letting it go. And it may build up again over time, but it's a release, and it's okay.
The car analogy is perfect. It's maintenance. Sometimes you just got to go back in and recheck it out. Make sure. You can feel, once you get used to it, you can kind of tell, you're like, I think something's off. I need to fix
if
something.
you're always sitting with a pillow in front of you like this is a really common one for people and women and sensitive people. You're buffering your energy center for a reason, and it's like there's maybe it's just the energy in there is so built up you're not releasing what you're receiving, and there should be a flow, like breath. We breathe in and out. We don't hold our breath so that we have good breath for 20 minutes and then we let it go and then breathe it in and hold it again. No, it's a continuous flow, like the waves. And I feel like the energy is very much like that. Like you'll have a conversation with someone that's maybe intense. Maybe it's like a confrontation. You're in customer service and you're having a confrontation with a customer. I almost said a Karen and I didn't. But with a customer. And they're being abrasive and it's hitting your body and you're feeling it hit. I actually have a real life experience when I was a barista of somebody coming at me, and I felt their energy hit my body, and then I felt it leave. Like I felt it pass through me and go out the other side, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's what it feels like when you let things go. It just literally passed through me. I forgot about that till just now.
See, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at
That's all.
that.
That's all.
That's
all I have.
So, get an oil change and and see.
Check
see
your
how that
tires.
goes. Yep.
Make
check
sure
your
you have a
tires.
spare.
Put some wiper fluid in, and there you go. We'll see you.
So yeah, new episodes every Wednesday. Thank you for everyone who's following us on Instagram. We have surpassed 1,000 and climbing.
I know.
It's exciting. You can't help but have that be a benchmark that you want to reach.
It is, and we haven't even been at a year, and we've had to postpone for 3 months or 2.5 months because of.
Yeah, if you add it all together, all the times we've had to take breaks for various reasons.
Yeah, so that's pretty damn good, I think. I'm pretty proud of that. Feels good. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Keep coming back and let us know, if you want to hear more about that or more experiences that you have. And
Absolutely.
we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.